Four. Off the website or off the Go ahead. Go to our website. Copy on this. We got some. Oh.
Hey guys, you guys hear me on comms?
Check.
Do you know how? Just give me like a 2-minute heads up, so that way I can make sure to go before you guys go for the opening ceremony.
All right, we need to get all the cars and race number one to stage Youth 1000.
The fuel truck, stand by.
All right, once again, race number 1 is staging. Just a few minutes away from going live here. Let everybody know we're going to be on Facebook and as well as our websites. So Facebook for Ultra 4 and for the Great American Short Course, as well as the websites for both. So get out there, share it, let them know. Boy, it's like someone flipped the heater on down there all of a sudden.
Well, it's warm out from under here.
I think Dave Arnold is.
I'm having hot flashes.
Male hot flashes.
Manopause.
So like Dave said, we're just a few moments away from opening ceremonies. We wait for racers to make their way to our staging. First race of the afternoon is going to be the Youth 1000 UTV. Yeah. So since Dave hasn't done it yet, I'll introduce myself. I'm Scott Rain, making his first appearance here at Glen Helen in quite a few years. I think the first time I ever announced a short course race here was 1997 in the Soda Winter Series event.
You know, they have the old...
There was nothing winter about it either. It was rain.
They got a trailer up there that still says soda on it.
No, that trailer, which you're talking about the one with the chunk cut out of it?
Yeah.
That is the U.S. Off-Road Championship Series
Okay.
from, I want to say, 97 to 99,
So it
I
was
think.
about the same time.
Yeah, that was Pace Motorsports trying to bring back the Mickey Thompson. But I was a part of that along with Ken Stout.
I remember riding a motorcycle up to it going, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, and what's scary about that is when you look at the side of that trailer, what part isn't cut out is burnt by the sun. The decals are just like burnt off of that thing. That tells you how hot it gets out here.
Fried. Doesn't get hot out here ever.
So once again, we're waiting for our racers to make their way towards staging before opening ceremonies this morning. We've got a special opening ceremonies. We have Chappie here, Steve Hansen, and he'll be opening up with our invocation. And I think this is one of those situations where, you know, this is round 3 of the inaugural season. And maybe Dave can give us a little background on what's been going on since this is round 3, as he's playing with the sound system. Dave, kind of like let's recap the first two. Let's recap the first 2 rounds of racing, Dave.
What'd you say?
That's the second thing that goes when you get old.
Como se llama?
No, this is round 3 of the 2021 season, and recap what had took place in rounds 1 and 2 of the Great American Short Course Series.
Well, we started out in Victorville, California, at the fairgrounds out there. It was a great showing for the first season. They had a good turnout. But I'm going to tell you right now, the numbers that we've seen grow after the buzz about rounds 1 and 2. The numbers have increased in a lot of classes. We got 12 Pro Lights out there, 9 Pro 2s, 19 Pro 1000s. So those are naturally aspirated classes. That's just an incredible sweeps and bounds. A lot of the drivers I talked to said that he brought the fun back to off-road. And that's one of the big things. He got a little serious, a little bit corporate over the years. And this is more of a family-oriented sport. We had all the fun. We we're out here, you know, drivers getting money from sponsors and everything. We want it to be fun. That's the key word.
Well, and they're not trying to set the world on fire and run the flag up the flagpole right off the get-go. It's baby steps, and especially coming off. I can't think of a better way of putting this, since I'm of age where I have no filter anymore, but I can't think of 2 guys that got bigger cojones right now, starting a brand new series 1 year after the pandemic that we had, which shut everything in the world down, and 2 guys decided, you know what, let's go racing. And it's like, who in the hell ever thought of something like that? Why would they do it now? And guess what? Dave Cole and Lee Perfect have done that, and the entire staff. It's been kind of like a partnership, as I see it from the outside looking in right now, between Ultra 4 and the Great American Short Course, which is Lee Perfect and his staff.
Most definitely. And it's like you said, you know, it took a lot of cojones. get going out there. And I agree. It took a village though to put this together. A lot of partners have helped out these two, but they all had a vision that they wanted to, bring this fan-friendly, fun aspect back to off-road and bring it back to its grassroots. And that's really where they're starting out. But we fall kind of in between that big national series and a regional series. So it's kind of like that growing.
Well, it's like what you and I talked about this morning earlier. It's like it's a regional series on steroids.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
You got the normal sportsman guys, you want to call it that. And then you got some pros here that are A, testing, B, decide this is going to be their series. And there's been a few guys that I've talked to, and I haven't had a chance to really walk the pits yet. Come hell or high water, they're going to come to every single race and support this series. And there's a need for something like this on the West Coast. There definitely is.
Well, just wait until rounds 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. When the other series are over in the Midwest, a lot of guys are going to come out here. A lot of the West Coast drivers have already taken their equipment out there. I know Trevor Layton's taking it out there, Ricky Gutierrez, just to name a few.
Mm-hmm.
So when they bring their stuff back, they're here to play.
Oh, yeah. And we can race in December here. We can race in January,
Oh, it's tough living in Southern California.
But once again, hang tight with us for all the people who are watching us at home or in your office or wherever you may be. Please hang tight. We're just a few moments away from opening ceremonies as we are on call waiting for our first race to make its appearance in staging and come out onto the track for opening ceremonies. First race of the afternoon is going to be the Youth 1000 UTV. So once again, we're going to have Chappie, Steve Chapman at the helm, controlling our opening ceremonies, starting with our invocation. You can't have an off-road race. I don't care if you're in Crandon, Wisconsin, or Southern California. You can't have an off-road race with Chappie at one of those events.
Check.
I hope not. All of a sudden, you talking about Crandon, I all of a sudden got the desire for some cheese curds.
Yeah, all it takes is one trip back east.
Oh man, and it does not disappoint.
Well, it's one of those things that when I'm from Green Bay originally or Wisconsin originally, and when I have family or friends that either go there and come back or come out here for a visit, they're not allowed through our front door of our house unless they've got at least 2 bags purchased that morning at the airport, because I can guarantee you this. I know for a fact that before the airport opens in Green Bay, the delivery truck from the local dairy is there waiting to bring in cheese that morning for the week. Yes. So, and by the way, you can't carry them on. I found that out too.
Oh, no.
So you have to check your cheese curds in your baggage.
Boy, that sounds lovely, especially if your baggage got lost. How about Ludafist? They let you bring that on the plane? That would smell lovely, wouldn't it?
I'll pass on that. Slide that into somebody's baggage through
that would be a good
baggage
prank.
claim. Yeah, exactly.
So what time are you going to light these candles?
Well, we got cars now lining up in staging. We need to get them out on course. I believe we're going to have them out on track for opening ceremonies. Now, Steve, I mean, you go to Baja all the time for all the events down there. You travel around for other different forms of motorsports. With that pandemic that we had last year, shutting everything down, touch on what you think is taking place here. I mean, how brave would you say Dave, Cole, and Lee Perfect have to be to get all these minds together to come up and start from scratch a brand new series like this?
Very brave. And really, I think the tough sell is with your sponsors, because you could guarantee your sponsors, hey, we're going to do X number of races, and your sponsor may say, yeah, until your governor says you're not. So that's a scary thing to take on, that endeavor, knowing that there's a lot of things that are out of your control, out of your power, and if the state says, no, you're not having events, what do you do? And how do you fulfill those commitments you've made to a sponsor that's sponsoring the series? So that part I think is really a tough place for the promoter to be. Is, hey, we got to have money coming in to make this happen, and how do we sell this to, supporters when we don't know if we're going to be allowed to have a crowd, spectators, or even an event, period. So that's, like you say, it takes a lot of courage to step out in faith and say, hey, we're going to carry on this short course torch, if you will. And even with the pandemic, going on, or right now, I think we all know what it is, but things slowing down,
Well, kind of look at it this way. Back in January, when we're still basically in the heat of the battle, we'll call it, with the current situation with the pandemic, and you were there. I mean, KOH, look how successful that was, and well attended it was, and whether it be spectators or racers, and every hoop that Dave Cole and his staff were told to jump through, they did it successfully, and those hoops kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and they did every single one of them, and pulled off an incredibly successful event. And I got in trouble. I feel like I can say this now because it's after the fact, but at that time, I think that I was kind of doing a little bit of research, and that KOH was the largest attended public event in the world at that time.
I wouldn't doubt that. That was quite a spectacle there to see all those people out, and really that was the first. Well, it was ginormous, but any kind of big level event that's gone on anywhere at that time. And it was one of those deals where you almost thought like every day they could shut it down.
Where is Dave?
And Dave was able to pull that whole thing off all week long. And I really thought, he might get one event in, and then they'll shut it down. And then we got the first one in. I was like, okay, well, maybe we'll get 2 events in. And then I was like, wow, we got 2 in, and they still haven't shut us down. And I couldn't believe it. We made it to the end of the week, and it was all good. But yeah, it was a neat deal to see all the people out there having a good time and enjoying each other again, as well as enjoying motorsports.
Well, it looks like we're just about ready. We have cars in staging. Opening ceremony's just a moment away. Let's get Dave Arnold down trackside with our personnel.
Okay, let's get down there.
And Dave Cole, we mentioned his name so darn much. Dave Arnold, take it away for opening ceremonies of round 3 of the Great American Short Course Series.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's 2 huge 1,000 10 left to play.
All right, there we go. Sorry. Had to get that mic fixed here. So if everybody wants to get to the grandstands here, and we'll get this started the right way here at the Great American Short Course Series. And if, oh boy, we need somebody to cue up the national anthem on the iPod. It's on my red iPod. You see how you know how to work an iPod. There we go. So I want to welcome everybody out here to round number 3 of the Great American Short Course Series, powered by Optima batteries. It's time to get this started. Let's do it the right way. And of course, we're going to do this with our invocation from our chaplain from Racers to Christ, Steve Hansen.
Please bow with me as we pray. Father, what a blessing it is to be out here in the sunshine that you're giving us today and the cool weather for racing. And we just are so thankful for that. And we also just pray for your favor on this racetrack to keep all the men and women safe as they race and as they entertain us, and as they show their sponsors and supporters exposure that they greatly need. But Father, we also pray for our country and the men and the women that protect our freedoms, both abroad and on our city streets, that you would continue to protect them and encourage them in the tough tasks that they have in front of them. And Father, again, we just give you all the praise and glory in our life. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen, Steve. This time I'm going to ask everybody to please rise, remove your hats. If you look down, Old Glory is flying high on the flag stand. It's time for our national anthem. All right, that's the way we're going to start it. But first, folks, before we're going to get this on, we got a little last night maintenance just finished up. But I don't want our chaplain to go very far. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit because we got something very special for our chaplain. He has done so much over the years for whether it's been the desert or for short course off-road. So this is for you, first place Pro 1 champion for you, Chappie Steve Hansen. So just showing your dedication to you have for off-road. You've been there for all of our drivers when they've been hurt, their highs, their lows. You have been the man that's been by their side, whether it's been in a hospital bed or standing in their pits when they've won a championship. And we just want to thank you so much for doing that. And that's all courtesy of Louis Tozier Designs, who makes all these beautiful trophies. He really thought you were so deserving of this. And of course, we thank you, Chappie, from the bottom of our heart.
Thanks. Of course, I'd rather get one of these, be honest with you, I'd rather get one of these on fire and upside down crossing the finish line like everybody else, but this is pretty rad. Thank you very much. I'll definitely cherish this and look at this and just remember all the friends I have out here. Thank you.
We love you, my friend. Well, Glen Helen, are you ready to see some racing? Well, let's light the fires, kick the tires. Here, this is Short Course. Let's get it going. I'm going to throw it up to the booth. Scott Rain, my partner in crime up there.
Well, thanks a lot, Dave. As we're waiting for our first race to come up the line, it's going to be the Youth 1000 UTV. And again, congratulations to Chappie, Steve Hansen. Dave kind of just touched on it just very briefly, how long he's been doing this and where he's traveled to and all the different forms of motorsports that he's been a part of. And some of the neatest pictures in all of racing are the pictures you're going to find in various areas. You have to really look for them. But when you have Steve Hansen outside the race car window, right before the race. The cars are in staging. They're firing up, and he's having a last-moment prayer with that driver. And every driver knows this, and they ask for him to come up to them and bless them for this upcoming race. So that, to me, is like one of the coolest pictures you're going to find is Chappie outside the window of every single driver right before they come out here and staging for the race.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you, Scott, on that. And many times, you've just walking through the lineup, you'll see him down there in the hot pits and praying with the drivers and, looking after them, trying to make them safe. And I always say, man, you got to be good to the guy that's got the inside line of the man upstairs.
Yeah, there's not a better friend to have.
Yes. Well, it looks like we're bringing out the Youth 1000 class right now. These are a Production 1000. They got a restrictor on them, so they've slowed them down just a little bit here. So they don't have that full speed capacity that some of our big pro drivers, which we'll see in the Production 1000s a little bit later. So once again, the Youth Production 1000.
Yeah, here's our lineup as they come out onto the course. It's going to be 6 cars strong, and you know what? This is really quick. I mean, there's nothing quick about this. We'll just say it anyways. But let's go back 10, 12 years into the trophy carts, which is, I guess, the truck version of these things out there. You're talking about Sheldon Creed.
Yep.
You're talking about Zane Smith.
Yep.
You're talking about
Riley Herbst.
Haley Deegan. Where are they right now?
Let's see. Sheldon's going to be racing a Toyota Tundra this weekend at Circuit Americas and in NASCAR. I think Haley and the rest of the crew are going to be over at ARCA, which will be live, I know, on MAF TV.
Yeah.
So, they've done a few things. They've come out off-road, but talk about other guys that have come out off-road. I mean, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
He was a short course off-road guy before he was a NASCAR guy.
Well, here's our lineup real quick. In row number 3 on the inside is Jesse Owens in the 97. Outside of him is Lake Adler. The next generation is behind the wheel in the Adler family. That's the number 2 of Lake Adler. In row 2 on the inside is Cole Gamma. You're going to have to help me out with some of these pronunciations. Did I get it right? Gamma? Gamma. Okay, he's out there in the 95. Josh Gillian is out there in the number 26. And the front row, Drake Matag, another second generation. It was just yesterday that Doug was one of the young guys out there. And now look at him where he's at. So once again, it's the second generation Matag family out there, number 18 on the pole. And Chaden Zane Minder is out there in number 15 outside of row number 1.
And just a little backstory there. I don't know if you knew, though, Chad Matag, Drake's dad, and, of course, Doug Matag's dad, they have the costume off-road design. They build a lot of trucks. He is one of the original innovators with the UTV class that we got going today. Back when they were running with rhinos with snow fencing.
Oh, God.
and no window nets, doors. It was snow fencing. And they were doing triples on a motocross track with those things. And it was pretty cool, the 800 rhinos. They weren't built, designed, or meant to do that.
So we'll see if they're going to take the green flag this time by... it's hard to tell.
This time? Well, just look for the lights to go out on the top of the UTV. It's always a good indication. They've got their lights up there when they're flashing. When they go off, that means they're going to come up to the line and go green, green, green. And, of course, it's always powered by Optima batteries. The quickest starting power of any battery out there. And we are a green, green, green go. Matag, Minder, Gamma, Gillian, Owens, and Adler. Or I like to say, lions and tigers and bears, oh my.
Well, let's real quick, let's talk about what this class is all about, the classifications, we'll call it, the rules, so to speak. Ages, I mean, what's this class all about?
Well, I believe it's up the youth up to 16 years old. And they're restricted. So I think it's up to 15, just like with Mark Cart, and if you turn 16 within that year, same deal. They know they have a restrictor on there, so you don't produce all the same power that a full production 1000 does. Because what are they normally, about 140, 145 there with a naturally aspirated motor? And of course, they tune them up a little bit more, get a few more ponies out of them. I'm talking stock.
Well, I'm thinking as a parent now, sometimes a grandparent, shut up, and that I got my little Grandeur out there in a car that sits that high with that much horsepower, and she's 9 years old? Oh, hell no. But
she's got a cage.
yeah, exactly. That's where I was going to go with this. They're in there, head and neck restraints, full fire retardant get up from the gloves all the way down to the socks, underwear, shoes, fire suit, the whole 9 yards. When I say a Hans device, the helmet, obviously. I mean, they look like, I guess a Doug Matag right now as he crawls into his Pro 2.
Yep.
They're crawling into their youth 1000s.
And you'll notice quite a few of them are the RS1 Polaris platform, which is set up as a single-seater. You'll see a few two-seaters out there, but the majority of them are running there as RS1 setup. The family man that buys an RS1 for the desert, they say they call him a selfish man, but if you buy one, you got to come out and race it.
Yeah, I mean, what else do you do with a single-seater? I mean,
I know.
This isn't the days of the Odyssey and Mickey Thompson.
That's true.
But these things are a lot faster.
Well, looking at the times, Drake Matag still up top here with Cole Gamma, Chaden Zenminder running in that third place, Gillian, Owens, and Adler rounding out our field.
Had a chance to talk to Greg a little bit ago, right before the opening ceremonies, and he's just out here having fun. He's not touching the steering wheel. Is that another sign of age in us? Is that what used to be a racer not that long ago is now a car owner, so per se?
I think it's, he's really enjoying seeing his son Lake race, and I think that's part, the big kick for him. He's done so many wonderful things for his son and really made him come out of his shell, and he's stood on that podium many times in the junior classes. And he's let Dylan race these things in a lot of the regionals over the years, and it's pretty cool. He's just kind of sharing the wealth. And of course, when it comes to the big races, we're going to see, Greg jump in the seat, the king of the hammers kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got a car pulling off there. Oh, a couple of them. I think they might have got lost. Uh-oh.
Don't ever say "uh-oh" during a children's race, okay?
That
A
usually means
youth race.
A youth?
Because all of a sudden there's going to be all kinds of parents all of a sudden get all kinds of attention made on the track. Okay, what?
Well, I just kind of went, they just wanted to go for the whoops. They want the rollers. Looks like we got a car up against the K-rail. It looks like it wasn't making that right turn there.
So right now the field's pretty spread out as Drake Matag still maintains the point. Cole Gamma running in that second spot, and Chaden in third.
Chaden, of course, the younger stepbrother of Trey Gibbs. So family out racing together. I think that's so awesome. So we're going to call this our mandatory caution now is what I'm hearing, the comp caution. Now, there's something cool about off-road is, a lot of the other professional, they don't really have the kids classes. And they don't race in the same series. They did have kids, it's, a standalone. Here, whole family generations come out here and they race. It's so cool.
Well, I guess I'm going to take a little bit of credit when it comes to this, but back in the core days, I want to say late 2005, early 2006, there was this thing called trophy carts.
Oh, I remember it well.
And Alex Strahler and I sat down in the office in core, and he calls it cradle to grave.
Yep, I like it.
And creating that fan base, that racer base. We don't have a future in this sport if we don't have a present. And all of a sudden, we started talking to Nestor Berardi, and it seriously took 3 trips, actually 2 trips by Nestor himself, bringing a trophy cart to the core office. Jim Baldwin wouldn't pay attention, wouldn't give it.
Not a second look.
The third trip, I went to the shop, picked up a one, brought it back, unloaded it underneath the office window of Jim Baldwin. He was on the second floor, looking down over the parking lot. I unloaded that trophy cart, I jumped in it, and ripped around the parking lot where all these Mercedes and Lamborghinis and all these other high-end cars were parked that were working in that office building. And I'm ripping around this trophy cart all in this little thing in the parking lot. And he went, I loaded it back up, took it back to the shop, came back to the office, and Jim Baldwin go, okay, let's do this.
history.
And what was ironic, I think we had 5. As the green flag comes back out, we had 5 carts at the first race at the original Chula Vista track. I think Nestor had an order for 12 more after that weekend. And I think the last time we ever raced at Chula Vista, we had over 200
Oh yeah, I
trophy
remember
carts.
that so well. Yeah, I was actually announced the very first trophy cart race at Lake Elsinore, and it was pretty cool. And seeing a lot of these parents here that are racing, their kids are racing. Those kids were in those trophy carts back then.
You know, I like what I'm seeing right now is Drake Matag. Just watch how he handles that car through the corners. Has that nice little slide through the corners, pitches it just a little bit, not overdoing it, not underdoing it, not a push, not loose, but just a nice, sweet, smooth slide all the way through the turn.
And these are 4-wheel drives, so of course, you can back them in a little bit, and that's what he's referring to on that slide. You're bringing that rear end around.
Just taps the brake just ever so slightly, just to
Rotate
brake.
it.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Not exactly Kyle LeDuc yet, but
Well, that's a whole other animal there.
I know. Or just a LeDuc name, period. So very cool. There's Lake Adler goes by.
So right now, I mean, Chaden's not going anywhere. In fact, he might be reeling in Drake just a little bit. Chaden's got the fastest lap of the race so far.
You know what? He's really close. He's really getting up to Drake.
I don't know if there's enough there for him to make an attempt to pass, but if there's a mistake by our leader, Drake, I'm sure Chaden will be able to, he's close enough he can take a chance at it.